Hi Scorpio. So Scorpio, this is your full moon prediction for August, and the first page that I wrote out is an overview of what's going on within your astrology, where the planets are, the houses, sign, degrees, the aspects they're making, and also I give an evolutionary astrological highlight where I choose one planet that is in a evolutionary lunation cycle phase, because there's 8 different phases, and then I choose another planet that creates an aspect within that lunation cycle. So this is the first page that I wrote out. So I'm doing it a little different. I like to write out things because it's more detailed, more intuitive, more insightful, and it's super effective in helping one learn if they write out, so they can get more of a stronger connection. That way when you do look at the chart and you're learning astrology, how to interpret, how to make a prediction, you can really just understand it more on the scientific level, and then your intuition will kick in as well, and then things will come to you. So here is the prediction, the first page. I wrote front and back, excuse me. And then the second page, it's a pretty good size horoscope. Takes me like, maybe an hour and a half, 3 hours, depending on if I'm rested or not, because these can be very depleting and draining if you do channel and do predictions. And yeah, I think you get my drift here, Scorpio. Love ya. So Scorpio, first off, I like to zoom in to this chart. I use this free software called Seat, and even though I have everything written down, I could probably, find new stuff if I just look in and start seeing things. But when I'm recording, I don't want to be trying to rush the prediction, you know what I mean? So until I'm more skilled and more professional and proficient, this is a really good way to do predictions. If you're, just starting off learning, whatnot. So here, Scorpio, the full moon, let me go over the overview first. So the full moon is occurring in your 10th house. So here, let's find you. You're right down, you're actually right here. So Scorpio ascendant right here. So the full moon is occurring in your 10th house. Okay, so we can go back right here, 10th house. And the easy way to just understand where you're at, so you don't have to count forward or back, you can just look at the angles. And if you're a Scorpio ascendant, then your midhaven, the 10th house, is going to be ruled by another fixed sign, and the one that comes lastly would be Leo, fixed fire, because you're fixed water. So across from you is going to be fixed earth, Taurus, your 7th house descendant, and then across from Leo is going to be the 4th house, your IC, right here, ruled by Aquarius. So once you learn the wheel, you learn, there's just 12 different placements here, and each sign and what element, modality, where it falls on the chart, if it's an angular, succedent, or cadent house, it's just all going to be easily identified as far as if you're looking for somebody's rising sign and you're just, you know, using either naturally Aries as a first house or anything else. It'll be really easy to identify, you know, quickly, fairly quickly, what sign rules what house. So, you know, your first house, Scorpio ascendant, I know, okay, your fixed water, well then fixed earth is across you. Taurus, of course, rules your 7th house. So at the bottom is fixed air because it comes after Scorpio if you're going around the wheel. And counter clockwise, or the way the planets move, so to say, would be Aquarius down here, ruling your 4th house, and then your midhaven would then be ruled by Leo. And this is generally speaking, because things could change, you know. There could be interceptions, houses could be bigger than another, so forth and so on. But anyways, so your 4th house, your 10th and your 4th house here is where the full moon is occurring. The full moon being 17 degrees conjunct Saturn, 22 degrees retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And this is where the full moon is culminating. However, where the sun is very prevalent as well, because the spirit sun and the moon, which is soul, and it also represents your emotional body. You know, your rising persona being right here represents the body, and they come to, you know, in opposition to reflect here, full moon culminate, so they can come together in order to kind of embrace where they're at within regards to their progression here, or what the intention for the body to manifest is, so to say. So the spirit and the soul are working, you know, synchronistically, you know, or trying to the way they can. That way they can use the like the body as the vehicle to make these things manifest, make these things happen. So the sun is 19 degrees up here in Leo, which is your 10th house. And then the moon, 24 degrees conjunct Saturn down here, I just mentioned, Aquarius 4th house. And Saturn's retrograde, so he's just deconditioning this area of your chart and wanting to integrate what has been learned so far with him moving through this part, because he's in almost basically a balsamic phase, needing to finish up some things. And then the full moon further, you know, intensifies this intention for the purpose of Saturn being in your 4th house down here, which represents home and family and mother and upbringing, you know, and a safe space for you to internalize. So yeah, he's wanting to start a new intention, or a new, you know, phase in the next area of your chart. So then we have the Grand Cross here, which is this big grand square, and then it's with the full moon, so the full moon splits it in half, and then there's so much activity and energy going on, activating the sign of Taurus, which rules your 7th house of partnership. So we have that to look at. And so the Grand Cross here, yeah, for you Scorpio, is consisting, okay, yes, and then it's happening, of course, with your angular houses. So I want to mention the angular houses are super important because they're major parts of your astrology. The first house representing house of self, you, your persona, how you're developing in this life within body, and how you change within body as you go through the tests of time and progress. And it's also your navigational tool to use when you leave your sacred space to navigate through your life. And then the house down here, your 4th house, another angular house. It's kind of like the angular houses is what holds your chart up. And it being in fixed signs, it even gives more weight to this, because the fixed houses build and they want to sustain, and they want it to last. So it's pretty concrete energy here. regarding your angular houses. So the 4th house down here, Aquarius, you know, 4th house represents your roots. It's the anchor part of your chart. And upbringing, childhood, ancestry, heritage, and your connection with your mom. So it's super important. And then your 7th house here is your partnership, shadow dynamics, really close relationships. And also, you know, parts of you that are very apparent when you are alone. In the internal world, your 4th house, sacred space, not the external, which would be your rising persona. So then up here we have the 10th house, which is the external as well. And when you go out to the external, you know, you show off that rising persona naturally. It just kind of takes over. However, you know, your 10th house is super important because it's your service. You're to the external, and you need to go out into society and participate. So the 10th house is what is needed from you in order to fill the void of doing something outside of yourself internally, doing something for more so like the collective or externally, even though the 12th house represents the collective. The 10th house is representing some sort of service to the collective. But also the 6th house, you know, represents service too, but it's more like service in the degree of your schedule, routine, and more of the chunking and details within service or your job, ambition, career, so to say. So, let's see. The T-squares provide additional insight to fragments, and see fragments of the Grand Cross, and there's so many of them, you know, because, you know, this is quite a Grand Cross here involving the full moon, and it does have a lot of the outer planets. Well, it has Uranus here with the node. And the nodes that are involved making this Grand Cross make it super more important for everyone, for the world as well, collectively. So, let's see. And then we have 3 bisextiles. The first bisextile is Black Moon Lilith. Here, let's... Just one second. Okay, so here the first bisextile, let's see, is 13 degrees Black Moon Lilith, Cancer, which rules your, let's see, here you are, which rules, okay, so if Leo rules your 10th, then Cancer rules your 9th here. So then we have Mercury 12 degrees Virgo 11th house. So right here, if Leo rules your 10th, then Virgo comes after, ruling your 11th. So here Mercury's at 17 degrees, your 11th house. And then we have the South Node, 17 degrees in Scorpio, your first house. So that's the first bisextile. And then for the next bisextile, we have up here, which is the one I like in this horoscope, and that is Mars 25 degrees, and of course it's going to conjunct Uranus and North Node because they're so close together here. And I would say, 25 degrees, it's when it's within 8 degrees or less, which is definitely pretty close conjunction. I mean, it's still a conjunction. It's less than 10 degrees. So that is going on in Taurus, your 7th house. And then it trines over to Pluto retrograde, 26 degrees in Capricorn, which, if Aquarius is your 4th house, the sign that comes before Aquarius would be Capricorn. So Capricorn rules your 3rd house. 1, 2, 3. And then they're semi-sextiling here to meet Neptune retrograde, which is 24 degrees in the sign of Pisces. And if Aquarius rules your 4th house, then Pisces comes after, and it's your 5th house. And the bisextile, it's a trine energy connected by 2 points, and then it merges into one midpoint by semi-sextile, 30 degrees, which require a little effort, but it's harmonious nonetheless. And then we have the 3rd bisextile, which is right here. So again, Mercury in Virgo, 12 degrees, would be your 11th house here, and it's making a trine over to your 7th house, Taurus, the North Node. And the midpoint is Black Moon Lilith, 13 degrees in Cancer, which rules your 9th house. So those are the bisextiles going on. And then for the evolutionary astrological highlight, Venus right here just entered a new phase in Leo.